Here we go. Good evening, everybody. I'm James, president of Jakl Den, back with you again this week. I'm here joined by my international superstar, international rugby superstar, Kibui.
In my
We
mind.
we have come back to you to talk about this last game against Anthem that took place on Sunday, and then our upcoming game this Saturday against NOLA. Uh, so first, kind of the same format that we had last time. I'm going to talk for a couple minutes about some admin stuff and some of the organizational stuff with the Jakl Den, and then we'll jump into these games. So first thing I want to say, we had the watch party for this away game. We had it at the Londoner in Addison. Appreciate everybody that turned up and showed up. We had about 12 to 15 people there. It was fantastic. Had a couple of families show up. Like I said, they gave us the entire upstairs. Figured out some technical difficulties pretty good and early on. I had a great game playing on the projector, some good sound there. It all turned out really well. Had good food, and even though it was St. Patty's Day, there was a celebration stuff downstairs. We were upstairs, so we had a pretty good setup. Now, if our numbers keep growing and we get more and more people, then we're able to have that kind of upstairs all to ourselves instead of in the past being downstairs and being kind of in an open area.
Stuck in a corner, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that was really good. Now, one of the things I saw online, we have watch parties happening in other areas. So we had Jakl Den members who were out traveling, who were setting up watch parties at their local pubs or whatnot, wherever they were at. And that was fantastic to see. I'm really glad to see that this stuff is carrying around with you wherever you're going. We even had a great story of somebody who ran into somebody in a different state wearing a Jakl Den shirt. And all she could think of to say was turn around and go, "Hell yeah." So I just thought that
We're
was
international,
hilarious and awesome. Exactly. We're just growing that much, which is fantastic. So I love that. Keep it up. Keep sharing those stories with us. Let's see. We want your watch party location ideas. Like I mentioned last time, we do want to at some point get, we want to be able to tell you every watch party is going to happen at this spot. We're not there yet. We're still checking out some areas. And one of the hard things is the Jakl Den is spread across DFW Metroplex, and we don't want to say they're all going to be at one place.
Yeah.
And then it's, if we're closer to Dallas, the Fort Worth got to drive. We're in Fort Worth, Dallas got to drive. So we're trying to figure it out. Give us some ideas. Give us your locations. What's near you? What do you like? Maybe it comes down to putting together some kind of watch party committee where we have 4 or 5 locations going at each game. We'll see, but we want to grow that way. So that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, we don't want to have to drag people all the way across DFW, especially if it's like a late afternoon game on a Saturday or a Sunday. Well, Sunday, because Saturdays we should be at the field.
Exactly.
Or even like a Friday night. Traffic in DFW after 5 o'clock is just, it can be crazy. So talk to us. Let us know if you're out there in the Arlington, Colleyville, Fort Worth area. And let's see if we can get some numbers there to pick a spot, and then we can get a watch party there. So
absolutely, very true. And it helps. We want to check it out. They just opened a new pub here in Flower Mound at the Riverwalk.
I saw that. It opened on the 15th. It opened this weekend.
Yeah, it did. That was their grand opening, and they had advertised that they're going to be playing a lot of the Six Nation matches. So that's one that we're going to go scope out. And if they want to play some matches for us, then we have second location up north, which would be excellent.
Yep. So
that's very cool.
So Flomo in the house.
Right. And I love it because it's a couple minutes away from my house. So that works out real nice too.
There you go.
So one thing, merch for us, again, we still have the scarves. So we usually have a bunch of these on us with us at the games, $15 a piece. I know it sounds weird. We're going into a warmer season, but they're still comfy to wear.
Now's the time to get them.
Yeah, now is exactly.
It's a limited run. Once they're gone, right? And then
exactly
might be a different design. So get your
we
scarf.
Start over again.
Summer 24 is around. Winter 24 is around the corner. So
yeah, get it now before we jack the prices up. But once the snow comes, they'll go to $17 a piece.
And free shipping.
A hard bargain. Free shipping. This upcoming game, one last bit, tailgating, 2 hours before the game. So game starts at 7:30. We'll be there probably between 5 and 5:30 setting up. We're in Lot E. We're on the corner of Ball Parkway and the Road to Six Flags kitty corner from the entrance into the stadium. We'll be there for about 2 hours. We'll have cookouts. I think we're going to try to get some cornhole set up there to have some games. There'll be some coolers there. We have a pretty good group of, again, about a dozen people that show up. and really we just get to know each other. We talk about the matches, we talk about other sports. We had a good conversation about the MLC, the cricket, Major League Cricket stuff that was going on right now. So it's just fun to get to know everybody out there and kind of what's going on. So definitely come out.
I missed that, but I'll be there this weekend. So I'm
Yeah,
excited to get my first tailgate though.
excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, and we were talking about maybe we may get together and try to see one of these cricket games. I know it's kind of a different season right around the time that rugby ends is when that picks up. And I didn't realize that they're in Grand Prairie is where they play, right?
I'm not sure where it is, but if you've ever watched like what they call the T20 internationals,
Yeah.
it's real quick. It's not quite like baseball. There's a little nuance to it that's different, but you'll enjoy the game. The party's there'll be a party. The atmosphere is crazy. They have a huge cricket following here in DFW, so I'm sure it's going to be a good time.
And
bigger crowds than rugby. So
I'm hearing last year they sold out every single game.
They do.
I mean, it's worldwide. It is the number one most followed sport on the globe. So and honest to God, I mean, the rules make zero sense to me. I'm pretty sure they make them up on the fly.
I'll walk you through it. Don't worry.
It's still, I'm sure,
you can understand baseball. You
can
pick up cricket. I promise you.
I don't like baseball. I watch rugby.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right. So let's get into last week's game. So we played against Anthem RC, and I got to tell you, I think all of us got together before this game. We made our predictions, and we all said we were thinking that we knew we were going to win. But we all walked into this thinking that the Jackals may pull maybe in the 30s, maybe in the low 30s.
Mm-hmm.
None of us had any idea that we were going to destroy Anthem by 40 points, 28-68. I mean, we literally had more people score than fit onto the results screen on MLR. It was amazing watching the highlight recap from last week on MLR. Of that 7-minute video, like 3/4 of it was our guys. It was insane.
You're doing great when the contact coach, if you follow him on Instagram, does a video on your set plays. And he points out the nuances of how the play was set up. It's really neat because he's pointing out everything that we did build up to the first try that we scored with Vaughn Isaacs cutting through.
Yep.
And it's cool to see that our team is not just having one guy on the team of the week. We're now getting exposure on like a big channel for the skills that they're putting out on the field. So it's not just the scrum and a maul. There's set plays there. They're working. Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah, it was. I liked seeing. I like to call this stuff the shell game. And I saw San Diego, and I saw it do it a lot last year, and I saw NOLA do it a lot last year, and I saw the first and second year of the Jackals. It threw us complete curveballs where all of a sudden, with a group of guys running down the field, you didn't know which one had the ball. And I saw for the first time, I saw Jackals try it last season towards the end, and we dropped the ball a whole lot, or we didn't complete it. It's where my rugby knowledge is going to show. I want to call it interception, but I feel like there's a different word for it.
It's interception. Yeah.
Okay, same thing. But this game was the first time that I really saw us do some of these moves that were so flawlessly executed. I mean, the behind the back tosses and the real quick shuffle with the ball, and even down to Vara's try that I'm going to forget the name of who kicked it, but a complete cross field kick right to Vara. Yeah. I mean, this stuff was phenomenal to watch.
So these are training ground, trick plays that you try on the training ground. And when 75% of them stick during a game, those are odds that you probably won't see those odds again. I'll be honest with you. They're going to be watching us more closely now because now they know that's in our bag. Before you were playing Dallas Jackals, you probably thought, okay, scrum, maul, bash it up the middle. They're just going to keep bashing it. Maybe we get a kick over the top. Now we have a varying in play. Isaacs kept swapping with Elias into the line. He kept inserting himself at the fly half, and he plays a very flat game. And now all of a sudden, you can't just be sitting back waiting for the kick. You don't know if they're going to run a flat pass. You don't know if they're going to go unders line or overs lines. and that variation is what's going to make us such a tough ask going forward for the other teams. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for this season. I'm glad Isaacs has given us an additional dimension that we did not have last season. So
No, he has been amazing this year. Just these last 3 games, he has really been someone to keep an eye on. And I mean, a lot of these guys we knew Ibarra was good.
mhm.
We knew Gola was amazing. Um, and seeing Coetzee and some of these guys, we knew they were great, but seeing these new
Yeah.
players come in and like you said, give that new dynamic and be able to make it flow with what we've already had.
Mhm.
And it was the stuff that amazed me from watching the international teams and the Six Nations and that kind of stuff. I saw
Yeah.
a couple days ago. I saw our Jackals do, and
Yeah.
I hope this wasn't all the tricks in the bag. I hope we didn't blow it all in the third match of the season. I hope that this was just kind of a small sampling of what we get throughout. Because I really think if we keep that up, we could dominate. That was incredible.
We have a team that can punch you in the mouth. Our pack showed that last season, and now our line has a bit of starch that we didn't have last season, and they're still learning each other.
Mhm,
That trio from our 12, 13, and 14, Muller, Richardson, and Ben.
mhm.
Those guys are all running hard. They're all, they're defending well in tandem, and they got cut up a couple of times, but that's going to happen with any center partnership, even with
Yeah,
experienced ones. So it's going to come. I think if you see us maybe 6 weeks from now, I think we're going to be a very, very tough out because they've had another 6 weeks to gel, just kind of work together, learn each other, and we're going to be a problem this season.
yes.
We've accelerated much quicker than I thought to, so that's a pleasant surprise.
And what's funny, and one of the things that we heard a lot over the offseason was we
Hmm.
had with the teams that fell and the teams that started, we were so worried that there was going to be kind of such a jumble of people coming and going, and nobody was
Hmm.
sticking around and who was going where. And
Yeah,
we it almost felt like every team across the board was going to be brand new puzzle pieces.
yeah.
But it feels like a lot of the teams have benefited from this, and I feel like I'm sorry to say it at the at the cost of LA and the cost of Anthem,
Hmm.
some other teams have benefited to where we've kept the right people in the right places to make these plays work.
Anthem are going to have a tough season, just like us in our, new franchise, first season. If you win like 3 games, you're doing good, right?
Fantastic, yeah.
And LA is a bit more seasoned, and they also have like combinations that came over from other teams, so they're not all brand new. And I think that they will probably end up being a couple more wins than Anthem, but it's tough being a new side in a league that's established.
Yeah.
It's always going to be tough sailing. So they'll have their rough times just like we did our past 2 seasons, and I'm hoping we're past ours. It's still early in the season, so
Hoping we didn't shoot our shot too early.
no, no, we did. I don't think we have. I
No,
think there's a
no.
basis for a platform for us to start heading up. So,
Hmm.
yep.
I
So
absolutely
who
agree.
were your standouts? I know Elias got man of the match. For
Man,
me, Isaacs would have got it if he wasn't called for that yellow card,
yeah.
which I still feel like that ball went straight down. Looking at it multiple times, but the TMO called it. The ref didn't even call it. It was the TMO who said,
Yeah.
that's a intentional knock. So I thought Isaacs would have been man of the match. Elias was really good. For the first time since he joined us, he's playing more expansive rugby. He's
Hmm.
not just looking to kick the ball. So that also comes with trust. So he's trusting his guys outside him, and he's giving them those opportunities. And I think he's going to blossom as the season goes. But other
Yeah.
than those two, who stood out for you?
I think I've really enjoyed watching our captain this year in the last few matches. I think Vara had. I know he was captain last year, and I feel like there was a lot of conflicting stuff happening last year. But I feel
Yeah.
like this year on the pitch, I think Vara is really doing a fantastic job of keeping the line, keeping the movement, keeping the players moving in the right direction. And I think Gola as uh, also working with him on co-captain, is doing phenomenal. But I think I saw a lot of Vara and I saw the other team respecting letting him be the director. And one of the things I mentioned last week talking about Anthem was it felt like watching some of their highlights that you would see somebody in the back trying to give direction, but nobody was listening because somebody else was trying to give direction. There was it seemed like there's almost too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing. And I didn't get that feel at all watching our guys on the pitch. It was really good.
Yeah, I think Gala is an 8 out of 10 every game.
Yes.
He's going to give you a close to 8, 9 out of 10. He has the defense. He has the ruck work, lineouts. He has a complete package. And he's still a young pup. To think that this is just his second season in the league, out of college. He leads by example. You can see him on the field. He's vocal, and the players respect him. They like him. They want to work for him. So you need that whenever you have a team. You got like 2 or 3 good leaders. That's fantastic.
That is so true. And I feel like I can't give enough credit to our coach, Cavalieri. I think it's just what he's done with this team over the offseason, and what he continues to do with them is just phenomenal. And I think, and it almost feels like a lot of this is letting them have the freedom to try different things during their practice, and that's kind of that shell game stuff that I see we see on the pitch is I feel like that can't all be coming from him. It's got to be the groups of players that say, hey, can we try this? Can we try that? What if this works? And giving him that kind of freedom on there is helping out.
That comes from the coach trusting his players too, right?
Absolutely.
And not playing a much more structured game. Like I'm trying to control and limit things. Like I'm trusting you to go out there and try this stuff. We're doing it in practice. And now I think they've earned the right. 60 plus points in any game whatsoever, especially where we've come from in the last 2 seasons. Like last season, we didn't score many points. We didn't lose by a lot, but we didn't score much.
Yeah.
And now we're actually scoring much. We gave up a couple of cheap tries, unlucky, right? But I think that's something that's easy to fix. It wasn't necessarily off, continuous phase play where we just broke down. So
I want to run down some of the quick numbers and statistics, some of the names from this last match, just to get this out there. So 68-28, Dallas scored 10 tries. Anthem scored 4. I'm going to run down some names here. So the boys from Dallas that had some tries, we had Martin Elias, Mitch Richardson, DeWalt Coetzee, Hero Gomez Vara. Is it Hero or Jared?
Geronimo.
Say it again.
It's Geronimo. Or Hero.
Geronimo Gomez. Okay, I got iPad. Okay. Juan D. Oliver, Nick Ben, Ronan Foley, Vaughan Isaacs, Tommy Beckerman, and then Marquez Fulao. So those were our Marcus Fulao. Thank you.
Yeah, you're good.
Eventually, I'll get the right pronunciation there. So
you're good.
Those were our 10 tries. We also had points, additional points from Mitch Richardson and Martin Elias as far as kickers and penalty points and conversion kicks. Over on the Anthem side, they had 4 tries. Joe Basser, Jake Turnbull, Josh Shetler, and Oscar Kohler, and then an additional 2 points from Joe Basser for kicks. And some of the major numbers on this, 105 ball carries by Dallas, 74 breakdowns by Dallas, 138 tackles made by Anthem. So they were out there trying. I'm not going to say they weren't. We did carry the disciplines. We had our 2 yellow cards, had our 14 penalties conceded. The refs on this match, I feel like they phoned it in, man.
So that was the first 20 minutes. I was like, he's letting stuff go. He's letting us play, looking good. And then it was just diabolical call after diabolical call. We didn't pay for it. We won the game, but we didn't win that game, especially after being up 30, close to 30 in the first half and then collapsing the way we did in that 20 minutes. If we lost that game, we would be out here screaming But
Man,
we won the game, and I think we should still be screaming about the refs, especially that TMO,
yeah,
because they have to be held to a higher standard. And USA Rugby is only going to go so far, because if you play at a certain level of refereeing, when you go to the international stage, if you're used to this level and you're going up a level, so what was a penalty there is not a penalty here. There's no continuity, there's no growth there. So
yeah.
we need our refs to improve as much as, and it's a thankless job, but we need them to improve their game.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely
Yeah.
spot on. It was for us watching it on TV, we're able to see things that weren't called and see that some of the calls were wrong. And this is one of these weeks I'll get Rick on here too. And I keep mentioning, I know he spends a lot of time with these replays. He's the rugby guru of what are the penalties and what aren't. And he finds these replays from a bunch of different angles and they're able to say, that did happen and that didn't happen. And nobody called this from happening. And I really want to pick his brain over some of these penalties that happen at times. But that you're right. I mean, even though we won, we should be pissed off that that things are getting by or things are being called that don't happen
or being missed.
Yeah.
So.
And now
but we appreciate our refs. I'll say I refed for a little bit. All I did was high school. I just didn't have the time commitment at the time, and then I just didn't go back to it. But it's a hard job. Everybody's screaming at you from the sidelines. The coaches, the players are questioning you. The fans, so parents in that case. But in this case, it's all the fans, and everybody's like, "You suck. You don't know what you're doing."
Sir,
it's a tough job.
Sir.
Come on.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I mean, and we've got, you have experience coaching and reffing. Rick has experience coaching and reffing. Mike King, also an executive board experience coaching and reffing. I mean, we've got a lot of people here within the den that have a lot of good experience, are able to see it, to pick out the things that these refs are calling. And I almost wish there was a way to give that feedback back to them of, hey, not only do we disagree,
they have
but
proctors. They have people who watch them and they go back and they watch the games. So the second they watch that game, they'll recognize these things. They'll recognize what they missed. The goal is you just be as even on both sides as possible. That's all you can ask for as a player, and just try not to miss. They're gonna miss stuff, but if you miss stuff and the touch judge sees it and he doesn't say anything, that's where I'm losing my stuff, right?
That's true. So. Hey, I'm gonna tell you. So this is perfect timing. We just got a special guest. I'm gonna bring this guy in to come join us. So you guys, I'm gonna introduce you. We got our first special guest on the Jakl Den Podcast. We are gonna be joined by none other than Brock Gallagher from the Jackals. Brock comes to us from Canada, played there growing up, is now scrum half for the Jackals, was out there kicking butt all Sunday, destroying Anthem, which was fantastic. We've just spent way too long talking about that, but I do want to pick your brain over it. So glad that you had the time to come jump in here. Thank you for it. And I know you guys were out on the pitch practicing today, and I know you got to be worn out. So we'll try to not keep you up too late.
No problem at all, man. I got all the time in the world for you guys. You guys do a lot for us on the behind the scenes. So, and we see it all over the time when you guys come to the pitch, and even on the Jakl Den Facebook page. So it's the least I could do. Honestly, I always got time for people like you, and especially seeing you at the airport. You take that time out of your day to come see us. I can obviously take the time out of my day to come and help out and support you guys the best way I can.
Hey, appreciate you. That was something I didn't mention in the very beginning. Is we're going to be getting more information that we can feed to the den on the socials of when these boys, when they're leaving and when they're coming back from games. So we're able to see them at the airport, and it means a ton to these guys, win or lose, to see us there in the baggage claim, to welcome them back. So we'll make sure and forward that information along, and let's show them a good group they can come be welcomed back to Dallas with. It's always fun. Plus, again, it's more face-to-face time. I mean, you're not 20, 30 feet away in the stands while they're on the pitch. They're waiting for their bags. You got a captive audience. They can't leave. Their bags aren't coming through yet. So you really get to sit down and talk with these guys for a bit, and it's fantastic. So, Brock, give us your rundown of the game on Sunday. What was it like out there? What was the energy like? What were the pros and the cons? How did everything go? How did it feel?
Honestly, it felt good because after that San Diego game, it was a tough pill to swallow just because counting the 2 preseason games and then our first game against LA, we had kind of had that taste of what winning feels like. And then to kind of go back into that, that feeling of what it feels like to lose, it was really tough, especially on the boys that were here last year. Obviously, it's my first year here, and I'm a new guy. But from what I've heard from last year, it was a tough season, and to kind of have that feeling, I feel like it kind of hurt a lot of the guys from last year a bit. Kind of brought them back to those times where only winning 2 games all year, it was really tough, a tough pill to swallow. But with the supporting cast and the coaching staff we have this year and the players we have, we were able to bounce back pretty quick. So literally right after that San Diego game into our day off and back in the training pitch, like switched on immediately. It was just like, this is what it is to lose. And do we like that feeling? Not really. And a lot of the older guys were like, it sucked. Like, that's all we've known really. Our identity for the last 2 seasons has been, 2 and 16. It's like tough. So kind of came back into it, went through the basics. We were able to add a couple new things to the playbook just because it was Anthem, and a younger sided team, not to take anything away from them. Obviously all professional, they train like us, eat like us, do the same thing we do, but it was definitely a team that we were able to kind of open ourselves up a bit and expand on our game plan and just kind of tinker and see where we can kind of bring in little things in. So it was pretty much just back to the drawing board, really. So energy was back up. It was good. We got a good leadership group and we're young, so we were able to kind of like not dwell on that game too much. But like through the week, we had a couple of like setbacks, not like team wise or anything injury wise. It was just kind of like on our Friday, which was supposed to be one of our last training days before we had to fly out on Saturday, a thunderstorm came in. So we had to get off the pitch right when we were warming up. We had to get off the pitch and we weren't able to go back on. So like that was one of our big like clarity days. So that kind of sucked, but we made the best of it. We kind of trained in like, where all the fans walk in. We're in the concrete area where the concession stands are. We're all just running plays, walking in our running shoes, doing little jogs, doing all the things. So we made the best of what we could. And then that Saturday morning, our flight got delayed 3 times. So when we were supposed to be in Charlotte around like 1 or 2, we didn't land there until 4 or 5. Wow. So then we had to rush to do our captain's run and get back. And like, we haven't eaten yet because the whole planning is, but like, thanks to our staff, they were able to get us food at the airport because the delays, bought us all these sandwiches and all this other stuff. When we got there, the dinner was prepared when we got there and like the fields were all prepped. So like overall as a collective, it wasn't just the players, like there's a huge helping hand from our staff and like all from our coaches to our GM to everything to our medical staff. Like it was really well taken care of, but we definitely had 2 back-to-back setbacks as far as not being able to train on Friday. Plane got delayed, all this other stuff, everything got switched around. And then by the time we were really able to like kind of settle down in our hotel, it was like 9 p.m. So there wasn't a whole lot. It was kind of like tough, like to settle down and get over in the flight and then really wake up and play a game at 3. And especially for us, like the last 3 games, well, not counting the NOLA game, but the New England game and the LA game, both have been really late games, like it's 7:30, 7:45 kickoffs. Yeah. And then now we're jumping in and like the San Diego game was nice, but we're at home, but like to be away and we're traveling and like kind of getting in late and having a lot of time to like just kind of vent and chill out after a captain's run. Yeah. It was, and then play at 3, like we're at the like waking up field at like 1:30, kickers on at like 2:05, 2:10, and then we're already in it. And it's just like, holy crap, this is going really quick. So it was just like an adjustment period with how, like, especially with the scheduling, like, so, and then obviously
it almost becomes kind of like you're sprinting the marathon at that point of like, there's no downtime in between each of these movements. It's almost where like at that point, like sleep becomes a part of the set schedule because there's just everything is jammed in there, and then wake up, go, get dressed, boom, boom, boom. And you've lost those little minutes in between each function to take a breath.
Oh, 100%. I gotta say, it didn't look like you went through anything the way you kicked off that game. It was absolutely vicious, training ground moves that get, that come off like 1, 2, 3, we're up 3 tries, we're up 4 tries. And we were all sitting there just blissfully shocked, right? And then you go into the half and then you come out and then everything turns on its head. When Isaacs got carded, which we felt that was wrong because that ball looked like it went straight down. Yeah. When they scored the try off the knock-on, where right in front of the ref, in front of the goalposts, we were sitting there screaming. And what's the mentality? What were you guys talking to each other about? And how did you lift each other to go from being, almost 30 points up, so it's almost a 1-score game, to just blowing it out in the end of the game? What did you guys talk about?
Well, if you guys haven't noticed, there's been a common theme for us. That 40 to 60 minute block is our worst block of rugby. Like
Yes.
it's the same thing the San Diego game. We came out at half, we were up 14-13, I think. And next thing you know, we're down 30-14. And then after that, the last 20 minutes, subs come on, we score 2 tries, and ends up being 30-23. So realistically, that's a game we could have won. And it's the same thing. Thank God that we put so much pressure on them in the first half. That it didn't become a bad, like we were up 40-28 by the time they had that penalty try. And so it's just kind of like this theme that we kind of picked up on this week so far is like, we really need to, like, it's 0-0 mentality now. So, and that's kind of what we had in that chat. Like once that try happened, it was kind of like, boys, like, this is like, we can't be too comfortable because this league is so unpredictable and anyone can beat anyone, regardless of what any record is. Like LA, for example, LA from the roster is a perfect team and they play great rugby and they're 0-3. But honestly, that means that like the way their record is doesn't show how talented they are. That's just how strong this league is from top to bottom, from east to west. Like anyone can beat anyone here. Like next thing you know, like Houston and Seattle can be 3-0, but next thing they're gonna lose the next 3 straight because everyone else is so good. Like it's a really exciting year for the MLR and a really exciting year for rugby. So for us to go into that, it's like you have to play a full 80. And that's kind of been a theme of ours, is like the Jackals, especially, like we're a full 80 team. Like we don't let anyone come into our home or we go to them. We don't give them any second, any minute of any time on the field to let them in. And we just have to, like, and I think this week we'll be able to show that like we'll be an 80-minute team. And that's kind of what we had to bring down to. And like our coaches brought up the fact that like after halftime, it's 0-0. Yeah, we need to stay dialed in, and then the finishers come on, and then we come on. So, and then we kind of showed after that penalty try, it was kind of like a kick in the ass, even though it was a stupid call. But at the same time, it was just like, okay, well, now they're within 12 of time. Like we're not safe. Like this game is far from over, and Anthem is talented and young, and they're hungry. So this is an easy game for us to lose. Like this is our game to lose. It's not our game.
Banana peel game.
Yeah. So we came in, and then after that kickoff, literally just started racking them up, and then we just kind of clicked in that last 20 minutes and just did what we do best. That's like from our starting 15 to our bench. Like anyone can be a starter, even the players that aren't even on our traveling 23. Like our team is filled with players that can ball. So it just kind of shows that like we have the potential to be a full 80-minute team. It's just that 20-minute period after halftime really is kind of our Achilles heel at this moment. But I think we'll be able to play this week against NOLA and show that that's just 2 games that we kind of gave away and kind of showed a little bit of our weakness, but now it'll become a strength of ours.
You know, I think always finished strong. The team has traditionally finished strong, even in the games where it was a tough loss. They've always just played until the 80th, 81st minute, never give up. And the fact that you were able to be clinical enough to pick up a couple of tries towards the end of this game, I think
they got like 4 tries in the last 5 minutes. It was amazing.
You know,
it was just bang, bang, bang.
Stealing onto that ball.
I love the fact
that you can be clinical, and just when we get these little half chances, we know you guys have to take those, because it's like you said, it's a tough league. Any given team, you're close to the top of the West behind Seattle and Houston, and we're truly looking at you guys now and thinking you guys are gonna be punching up there with them. So we're excited. So
that's happy. That's what the kind of rugby we want to bring here. Like I said, the first 2 years of Dallas Jackals franchise being a part of it, it's been very much a tough pill to swallow. So it's good that this year we can bring a little hope, especially to the Dallas district of itself, and kind of show that we're a team that isn't a pushover. You know, it's just kind of it's more of a disrespectful thing. And literally after the first week against LA, it was like major upset on social media. It's just like it makes no sense. It's just like, and clearly the people that are behind it, like it's just, you're not giving us the respect we deserve. And we know that until this season's over, we're never gonna get the respect that we truly deserve. So we're gonna have to do every game of every minute of every second that we're on that pitch. We have to prove ourselves.
I love that.
So that's how we're going into this season. We're the villains. We're kind of the underdogs. We're kind of that team that no one really gives a shit about. So we're here to make a statement. So,
you know, I mean, underdogs is a good word for it. I mean, it almost felt like in the first season and halfway through the second, if another team needed a win, just see when they were going to play the Jackals, and they would that was when. But I mean, I hate to say that, but
it's the hard truth.
That was what we had. I mean, it didn't matter how good we were. You know, it always seemed like we lost our gas around the last 15 minutes, and we would give it away. But you're right. This year, what we've seen on the pitch, and even including San Diego, what we've seen has been a full 180 and just phenomenal. And I'm going to roll this over into next week's match against NOLA. I'm super excited about this because I feel like and I'm sorry to say this, but I feel like we were handed a bit of a golden intro into the season because LA was a brand new team.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego, we lost, but part of what I said last week on this, we were in it. We were phenomenal. What San Diego did to the Jackals last season, they crippled us. This season, we held our own throughout the entire, and what I saw there was incredible. And you could see that we are just going up and up. And then playing Anthem, man, it was like Major League playing Little Leaguers. And I mean, they're a great game and they're a great team, but like Kibui said earlier, I mean, it reminded me of what the Jackals were the first few weeks of the very first season. I feel like Anthem is going to be phenomenal in a couple of years, but they're just working their way up. And what worries me now is in the next few weeks, we really get into the meat and potatoes of the league. NOLA's always been a heck of a team. When it comes to playing Houston has always been a heck of a team. The Utah Warriors, I mean, when we come into some of these games, it's going to test us now. And this is where, some of the stuff you're talking about with the difference of how the coaching is going and how the practices are going. I think we are solid in it. I just worry that we don't want to go in too headstrong. We got to be humble we got to be realistic against some of these games. So I certainly think we're on the up and up, and I certainly think we're going to give NOLA a hell of a match. And I honestly see us winning and coming out of this on top, but I think NOLA is going to fight tooth and nail against us on this. One of the things I like to do on this is I want to do a real quick roundtable. I'm going to hand it over to Kibui and then you, Brock, to get your input on this. I just want to say I think that we definitely are going to take this. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be around a 28-26 match. And I think they're really going to hold us to the line every single time with that ball, with every time that we get it. Kibui, what's your take on this one against NOLA?
I think if we keep the same lineup, which is crucial for that continuity and everybody getting to grow with each other, I'm thinking Jackals by 11. I think we're going to score some points. I'm saying 35-24. Jackals take it. So that's my prediction.
Now, Brock, the little bit that you can give us on this is we don't know anything about what happened in these preseason matches. They've all been kind of secretive, but you have actually played NOLA in preseason. So you can give us some insight into what you guys are up against.
Well, what I can say is that they are very well-rounded from forwards to back. The thing is that we find with them is that they definitely try to bully in a way. And so what our theme is, at least for this week, is that we come at them physical and we come at them strong. Okay. And that's kind of like where we're at. So to not give away anything or give away a little bit, it's just like we have to match their physicality and punch them square in the mouth. Because if we let them do it to us, that's how they get into their game. So, and like you said, their back show, like even watching the game against New England, like they got so much talent out there and they're so physical and so big. So I think it's gonna be a fun matchup too, and it's gonna be very equal, especially at the scrums and our mauls. I think it's gonna be a fun battle as a guy that used to play in the forwards or something. It's gonna be a fun battle between the forwards and backs wise. I think it's very balanced around the board. But I'm gonna give him.
About?
So, but yeah, I think from a backs perspective, I think it'll be a great one-on-one battle, number against number. It's kind of just like who's got the biggest head in there and who's gonna make their mark. So I think it's gonna be pretty balanced. But I think obviously being what I see every day, training every day, and the work that we put in, I can't say anything other than the fact that I back our boys and I back especially my skill set and everyone else's skill set. I think we're going to come out on top as well. So I think it's going to be close. It's going to be a battle, just like how the season's planning out. The rest of from now on, every game is losable, but also every game is winnable. So now it's kind of where we got to be excited to get in that addiction of winning, but humble ourselves in that aspect that we are still trying to make a name for ourselves in this league and that we're still trying to show what we can do and show that we are a force to be reckoned with. So I think from starting with NOLA until our first bye week, it's game on. Like we're playing with the big dogs now. So especially with these teams coming up, like it literally goes, like you said, NOLA, Houston, Utah, Seattle. And you look at and you look at our West Division from top to bottom.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, easy. 4 teams make it out of the thing to playoffs. I'm like,
it's literally 1 through 4.
Yeah, it is not easy. Like LA can go on a 3-4 game winning streak and they're right back in it. Utah has lost some pretty close games as well. Seattle was a little iffy, but like still, they're strong and physical. They've been dominant since they've been in the league. And like I said, LA is a team that I think is kind of being swept under the rug a little bit just because of their record, but they're so talented. And the games, there's 2 games other than I think they deserve to lose to us because, obviously I back us. But those games against Houston and San Diego, they could be 2-1 as well. So like I said, this league you give any team a little bit of hope, a little inch of anything, you'll lose.
Absolutely.
It's one of those games. It's anyone's game to lose at this time.
Absolutely.
So,
the one other thing I will say, the one other game I'm looking forward to and coming up this week prior to going to see the Jackals is I'm looking forward to seeing Friday's game against San Diego. I'm sorry, not San Diego, Seattle and Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Both of these guys,
that'll be a good
the Western Conference, that's the 1 and the 2. Those are the 2 guys right now that are 3-0. And I'm excited for it for a couple of reasons. Both of them are powerhouses that really want to see who's going to come out on top. But when I look at the league standings, that's the 1 and the 2, and the Jackals are number 3. Now, right now, across the league as a whole, we are tied with New England with 11 points. What has to happen, I mean, like regardless of what the names are, some things have to happen this weekend. Either Houston or Seattle is going to get a loss. One of those 2, because they're playing against each other. So one of those games one's going to be 4-0 and one's going to be 3-1. When we beat NOLA, we're going to be 4-1. So it's
3-1.
Sorry, 3.
Yeah, that'll be our third one.
I'm sorry, 3-1.
You're good.
That puts us. I can't do math at the moment. That definitely gives us a chance to jump up into the number 2 spot. I think this is where we solidify and hold that line, hold that place to put us in the playoffs later on down the year. I think starting off early, move up that ladder super quick, watch some of these powerhouses get their little bits of losses. We jump in at second place and hold that, and then we're good. We have our entry ticket to the playoffs, which would be phenomenal.
And that's why the bonus point that they picked up in the loss is so important. Those bonus points are going to add up. So the tries, 100%. the four tries last week, bonus point. We need a bonus point every week. And obviously we want the wins. And I love what I'm seeing from the squad. I'm excited for the season. So.
No, you guys should be. It's been the work we've been putting in, the talent we've been able to produce. Like I said, even the guys that aren't even in the 23 yet or haven't had a chance to crack the roster, like we're looking good. Anyone who goes down injured, we're not scared, and we're not fearful of that.
It's a long season. Numbers will get called when people go down, right?
But it's good. But it's a big key thing is like, regardless of what we play, obviously 2 games against the West teams because that's our conference. But a big thing to be realistic about is that when we do play East teams, those are the games we can't afford to lose or can't afford to give up. And if we're going to come out of those games losing, like you said, we need a bonus point. So absolutely. If we can beat, because we only play the East teams once. So if we can go beat almost every single East team and get a bonus point, losing or winning, that will solidify us in the playoff spot from 1 to 4. So that's kind of the mindset I have into it. And I think it's just something that I've talked about with other people is just when we play these East teams, those are our biggest games of the season. So right now, NOLA is our biggest game of the year right now. And then we play Houston, and Houston is obviously a big game, big rivalry, but it's a West team, and we can play them again down the line. So I think as long as we capitalize on these East teams that come through or we go to them, I think we'll be in a very comfortable spot.
That makes a lot of sense.
Love it.
So that's fantastic. I'm going to wrap this up here on this high note. I appreciate it, Brock. It was phenomenal having you jump in here. This will be really cool. I keep asking people from the Den. I want to get a Den member into each one of these to get the input from somebody who's in the stands. And who knows, maybe I'll throw this link out to random other players to say, hey, just surprise us. And we can get input from Brock, definitely you again, and maybe some of your roommates there want to jump in, or anybody else who's available to come say hi and give us some input. But that's awesome. It's phenomenal. Thank you so much. It was always a great time. I love getting your input and love talking with you. Kibui, thank you for everything.
Oh, my pleasure, guys.
Jakl Den, again, watch party. We'll be out there 2 hours early, kitty corner from the entrance to Choctaw Stadium. Come out. We'll have some cookouts. We'll have coolers. We'll have some coolers. We'll have some camaraderie. Come hang out with us before the game.
Are you paid to say that, Prez? Coors?
Paid to Coors? No, Rocky Mountain. No.
Okay.
Get some Molson Canadian in there. You might get some Canadian fans down from up north.
This was we had such a great win. I'm going to crack open and pour myself a drink. So,
okay. Yes. Let me go get mine.
No, that's good.
All right, boys. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you all on Saturday.
Good night and
Thank
God
you guys.
bless.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Have a good night, guys.